isn't the video playing? This doesn't seem right. Come on. Ah, there we go. All fixed. Let's try this again. 3, 2, 1, here we go! Hello. Later this week we will be reading one of the greatest books taught in schools, The Great Gatsby. Now the front of the book might not look like much, though I can assure you that this will be a great read. But first, why don't we get to know the author a little bit better? This is F. Scott Fitzgerald, a pretty good-looking fella, especially during the Roaring Twenties. He wrote The Great Gatsby back in the 1920s. It was officially published in 1925, but the process to getting there took a little longer than usual. Not because he wasn't a great writer, but because of other reasons we'll get into later on. Back in the beginning, Fitzgerald grew up in a fairly normal family. He had a good amount of money, but he even became friends with the popular writer Ernest Hemingway. It wasn't until he published This Side of Paradise in 1920 that he was officially included into the high-class society. While the partying lifestyle may seem fun, and I'm sure it was, it didn't end well for them. It was difficult for Fitzgerald to keep up with this lavish lifestyle. Partying took a lot of money, you know. Even if things were going great for everyone else, it weren't going great for them. The reasoning he was having so much trouble was because his other books weren't making much money, and he had a hard time finishing them too. All the partying didn't leave him with much time to work on his writing. He tried to write a few short articles and stories for the newspapers to earn some extra cash, but they weren't enough, and things were going downhill fast. Eventually, Fitzgerald became an alcoholic, and his wife had some problems of her own too. Her name was Zelda. No, not that Zelda. Get the other picture. There we go. Much better. Bet you can guess they were a power couple at parties with how they look, huh? But Zelda had problems of her own, like I said. After acting very erratic, she was diagnosed with schizophrenia and eventually tossed into the insane asylum. Back then, that wasn't a very good place to be. It seemed like things were going down and would never go back up. It wasn't until he got famous with his new book, The Great Gatsby, that things finally turned around. So, Fitzgerald had a crazy wife and a hectic life. But for Gatsby, it gets much worse. What do you mean by that, I say? So, Fitzgerald had a crazy wife and a hectic life. But I can tell you this, it gets worse for Gatsby. How, you may ask? Well, you're just going to have to read the book and find out yourself. Well, see you tomorrow in class.